One thing that I've always wanted to talk about are the challenges in Unbound and how completely unnecessary I feel they were and still are. What challenges am I talking about, you ask? Well, I am not talking about the daily challenges of you doing something super random and you get a pop-up on your screen that gives you $100 and freezes your game for 3 seconds. Not those type of challenges, even though they are a whole problem by themselves and we will talk about them later. The challenges I am speaking on today are the ones that help players unlock cars. You all knew this was bound to be a topic we were going to talk about in a video, especially if you have been paying attention to what was said about the RSR and its requirements to unlock it in yesterday's video. Anyway, before we get into all of that, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy, and as always, these are my opinions on the subject at hand. If you ask for a source, you're gonna be waiting on a response that will never come. But besides that, let's get into the video before this intro becomes longer than the last one. The first thing I want to get out the way is, yes, I understand why they were put into the game. Challenges add layers of difficulty and goals which keep players motivated to improve their skills and progress. I get that this progression provides a sense of accomplishment and adds excitement to the gameplay. In fact, racing games with challenges give players something to work towards, making the game feel more rewarding as they complete tasks, unlock achievements, conquer difficult tasks, all that sort of stuff, right? But what I do not agree with is the fact that racing dirty is actively encouraged when you look at some of the challenges that you need to complete to get some of these cars. Look at the challenge to unlock the Volvo 242DL, for example. Take down 10 racers while racing? What do you mean take down 10 racers while racing? So are we actively encouraging players to sabotage other people's races unprovoked? And to make matters worse, this car isn't even cracked enough to be starting race beef over. Let me be on a crazy burner run on a lap race. I'm talking world record type of pacing. And as I approach the finish line to start the third lap, some random decides to go the other way and hit me head on just to unlock that car. I promise y'all it will be a crash out of crazy proportions. The way that so many people complain about rammers and dirty racers in the game on Reddit and in different communities, there is no way Criterion thought it would be a good idea to have a challenge like that just running around. People get to play dirty and they get rewarded for it too. Insane demonic work right there. Straight instigator activities. But the Volvo isn't even the worst part of that series. You still have the Bel Air challenge, which is get 20 takedowns while racing. And the worst of them all, get 50 takedowns while racing to unlock the Ford Raptor. Now, I may or may not have the Ford Raptor, Bel Air, and Volvo unlocked. I'm not sure how I got those because I'm the cleanest racer out here, but that's besides the point. The point is, Criterion, you gotta do better. And if you are going to actively encourage dirty racing, then at least try to hide it a little bit better, you know? Now, the challenges where you have to draft behind players or drift for a specific amount of time to unlock a car, that's cool. That is something that naturally happens, and I feel that when racers are able to unlock cars and other objects by doing things that they don't have to go out of their way to do, it makes the challenge actually beneficial. That's fair, and I think a lot of people would agree to that. Now, what is crazy are the ones where you have to finish a certain number of playlists to unlock the car, which still has to be paid for, by the way. One example of this is the challenge to get the Bugatti. Finish 35 S plus tier playlists. Off rip. I know some of you guys hated your life when you found out that that is the requirement to get the car. As we all know, S Plus is one of, if not the worst tier to race in, hands down, no debate. Now imagine doing 35 playlists, 3 races each, and then having to spend over $4 million to get the car that will still lose to the Regera, which funny enough also requires you to finish 30 playlists in S plus tier. So it was back-to-back head slamming against the wall. That is over 100 races you have to do. And by the way, the payout system back then, even if you got first in every single race, you still wouldn't have enough money to get the car and upgrade it. 35 playlists is insane, but thankfully it has gotten a tiny bit easier now for newer players since you can start them by yourself. But imagine back then, if you didn't have any friends, you were cooked. You think it's bad that randoms don't join races now in free roam? Imagine how it was back then when everyone had their own challenges they had to do. Nobody was joining any races. It was terrible. Just going through the challenges list, it was amazing what they put in this game and the absolute torture we went through to get some of the most bummy cars. The Chevy C10 required us to do 30 B tier playlists in a Chevy. But you know what the messed up part is? There was only one Chevy you could get from the jump without any requirements, and it was the 1967 Camaro SS. Not only was that thing terrible, but because it had to be in B tier, it was now slow on top of being terrible. In fact, going through more of the Chevy section, Criterion was dead wrong to make us do some of this stuff for these whack cars. Finished 30 tier A playlist for the 2020 Corvette Stingray. Finished 20 A plus tier playlists in a Chevy. I'm getting goosebumps reminiscing about the struggle. One of the most annoying challenges to have ever been introduced into this game was, I think, the Maybach challenge. And for all those who don't know what that is, you had to complete 10 stars on Hotlaps. That may seem easy, except you forget that Hotlaps are complete dog crap and are the bane of my existence. I remember one time I got so mad at the Hotlaps design, I made a full 10-minute video ranting on it. And I mean, looking back at it, it made sense. In my opinion, Hotlaps are really badly designed. I mean, really bad. The checkpoints are oftentimes way too close to each other, and the way that the map and UI looks along with the camera, it makes it really easy to miss a checkpoint. And guess what? You gotta start all over again. Let's not even discuss the weird places and uneven terrain they were located at. Like, bro, can you put me on the road? It's a hot lap. Okay, I know it's supposed to be a challenge, but why am I trying to beat a time, but also having to drive against a freaking building structure that isn't even a road? I do like how you could go either way though. Nice touch. But all of that complaining is just to say that the hot laps challenge was terrible. And I feel it should have been something like drive over 150 miles per hour for 200 seconds in a Mercedes or something, right? But you all know I had to eventually bring the RSR challenge up. This one right here made me permanently have a portion of my heart designated for hating Unbound. Finished 30 A plus tier playlists in a Porsche. Once again, like the Maybach challenge, it doesn't seem too bad, right? Wrong. 90 races in a Porsche was insane, especially considering that the only two Porsches that were available were the 911 Carrera S, which nobody had a build for yet, so it was crazy terrible, and the 911 Targa 4 GTS, which was big, fat, and very, 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 very slow. This was torture to the highest degree. And what made it even worse was the fact you couldn't use anything else for 90% of the challenge. Sure, you unlock the 911 Turbo S Cabriolet at 20 playlists, but at that point, you might as well just complete the 30 playlist. Why are you spending money on yet another trash Porsche just to not have any money left to buy the one you have been spending 5 hours trying to unlock? What about all the other Porsches, you ask? Funny you should ask, because all of those had separate playlist tier requirements, which meant that you grinding for the RSR did not overlap with anything else. Sure, you have your RSR now. Congrats. Now go use it and grind 500 other races to get all the other Porsches in the game. The worst ones were the mixed playlists though. Like, who the freak is even doing mixed playlists? What are you, a crackhead? The last one I kind of want to poke a bit of fun at are the challenges where you have to get first place or second place in a certain number of playlists. These challenges were for cars like the Aston Martin Vulcan and for the Volvo Amazon. Granted, people didn't really care about the Amazon, but they sure did want that Vulcan, and finishing first or second in 20 S tier playlists back then was a true accomplishment. There were some crazy sweats in lobbies, if you could even find a playlist to get into. And if you lost even once, go ahead and back out, little bro. Go ahead and try again. I do appreciate these challenges a little bit more though than the others, because they encourage people to race and get better so that they can get first or second consistently enough to unlock the cars. These challenges did not encourage people to start randomly ramming others off the road so they could get a freaking Bel Air. With all that being said, clearly this video was just made in good fun, and I wanted to poke some fun at the challenges they made for this game. I've been talking about them a lot for a few videos and in the Discord. Make sure y'all join that, by the way. Good decision, but bad decision at the same time sort of thing, right? But I do want to know what your guys' favorite or least favorite challenges were in the game. Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed, make sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.